Hey guys, Angelina here with Mint and Porter Design Co., bringing you the best tips for web design and front-end web development. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to be a productive freelancer during quarantine. If you'd like to stay in the know about the latest web design strategies, consider subscribing. So, it's quarantine, day 49. Stay-at-home orders went into effect in Colorado on March 26th, though I elected to stay home about 2 weeks earlier. We're now in a reopening phase for Colorado called Safer at Home, where businesses are slowly opening up. But since we're only a few days into it, it's still pretty much business as usual with quarantine right now. I have to say, life didn't change a whole lot for me because I moved my business to a home office in the fall of last year. But now I've been home 24/7 and I'm doing all of my networking and coffees virtually. So whether you work remotely or you have a new work from home routine, these 5 tips can help for productivity. I've spent a ton of time reading books on productivity since I went into business for myself. The books that helped me the most are Essentialism by Greg McKeown, The One Thing by Gary Keller, and Deep Work by Cal Newport. Tip number 1, keep a loose schedule. I know some people prefer to work within a schedule, but that never really worked well for me. I've tried rising at the crack of dawn thing, and it's just not in my DNA. I generally wake up around 8 a.m. and then I get straight to work. Instead of working a set hours, I set a goal for how many hours of work I want to work per week, and then I plan for there. For instance, my ideal schedule is 5 hours a day of client work and 1 hour a day of YouTube planning. Sometimes I do more, sometimes I do less, but in general, I work around 30 hours a week, and it's been working great for me. So whether you work a set schedule or a certain amount of hours per week, establishing a routine is the important thing here. Since I first put this tip into effect, I've gotten a lot more done and not slacked off on my personal project, which is YouTube. Tip number 2, do your one thing for at least 4 hours a day. This tip is from the aptly named book, The One Thing. And it talks about accomplishing your one thing first and then worrying about the rest of life later. The author suggests doing this first thing in the morning while your energy is highest if possible. So ask yourself, what's the one thing I want to be good at or become known for, and put all of your heart into that. For me, it's creating beautiful work and websites for my clients. I use Trello's personal productivity system board. I'll link in the description below. And I modify the days of the week for the cards instead of the original cards. I love Trello because it's free, mobile friendly, and you can easily move tasks around. I found it easier to use than a paper calendar or Google Calendar for individual jobs I need to mark down to do. I still use those things, but for different tasks. Tip number 3, block out all distractions and do deep work. This idea comes from both the book Deep Work and The One Thing, and honestly, they've been hard to implement, but it works wonders. Since adopting it, it's the one thing that has helped me the most. There are a ton of studies on why task switching is bad for you, and it does take some time to get back into the swing of things. I find that especially true for creative work or work that involves critical thinking. So, some advice from the book. Turn off all social media, Slack, messaging, ringtones, text messaging, and email until your one thing is done, hopefully in the first 4 hours of your day. Before I start my day, I quickly scan my messages to make sure there's nothing urgent, and then I get to work. After my 5 hours, I'll return messages, phone calls, and jump on social media. I also got an awesome pair of noise-canceling headphones. They're a dream, and I listen to instrumental or low-key music on Spotify while I'm working. Some of my favorite playlists for doing deep work are Peaceful Piano, Deep Focus, and Chill Vibes. I allow myself music and sometimes podcasts, but no TV and especially no news during this time. I'll link it in the description below. And since we're all in this new realm of families working from home, I put a do not disturb sign on my office door until I knock out my one thing for the day. Also, I hide my phones in a bookcase, or I'll put them across the room, or I'll gravitate towards them and get on Instagram or YouTube, and that does not help me get things done. I actually sometimes forget my phones are there until I plug them in at night, which honestly is kind of peaceful. But no, I do have a watch that alerts me if something is urgent. One other thing I have is the self-control app on my computer. It's a free app and it allows you to block websites of your choice. For me, I block social media during my 5 hours of client work, and I start the timer right after I've checked my messages and I'm about to jump into work. Tip number 4, say no to events that do not support your goal. This comes from the book Essentialism. So I read this book a few years ago and it has made a huge impact on me. Basically, the whole book is about how to say no to things, and as a lifelong people pleaser, this is something I sorely needed to hear. There is just so much to do in a day, and as a business owner, it's vital to say no to the things that don't support your business or your time off. So what do you want to do better? Write better code, become a better illustrator, be a better photographer? Think about what's keeping you busy and if they support your goals. If it's not a hell yes, then it's a no. So be kind to yourself and be a little more selfish with your time to achieve your goals. Tip number 5, stay healthy. You can't be the best version of yourself if your health goes out the window. So do simple things to help your health. Get an ergonomic setup for your work desk. There are affordable versions of stand-up desks. One is right behind me. It's actually like a desk on top of my desk. Ergonomic mouse. I have this very cool looking contraption. I'll link it in the description below. And I have an elbow rest, which pulls out right here. You can see it, and it helps me from getting kind of tennis elbow or computer elbow. I guess it's a thing. It definitely is with me. I also set a timer on my watch to get up about every 30 minutes to keep me moving. Also, I exercise at least 30 minutes a day. I know, it sucks, but I just suck it up and do it. I'm always grateful later. One thing I love doing is keeping a wall calendar in my bathroom, and I put a sticker for every day I exercise. You'll be proud to see the visual reminder and less tempted to break the chain. I either jump on my stationary bike or I take a long walk around my neighborhood. Finally, I get HelloFresh delivered to the house. So during quarantine, it's especially great since groceries are delivered right to your doorstep. But I've been using it for years and I love the time it saves from planning meals and going to the grocery store. I usually get the veggie option and the dishes are delicious and generally pretty easy to make. Hopefully these productivity tips help. Are you currently freelancing or working from home? Type it in the comments below. I'd love to connect with you about your experiences during this time. For resources listed in this video, visit the description below. If you like this video, smash that like button, share it with your friends, be sure to subscribe, and hit the bell to get notified for every time I post a new video.